What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Wager Alarm live stream. I'm Howard Bender. With me, of course, Craig Mish. It's Saturday night, and that means it's time to make our picks for the Westgate SuperContest. What's going on, Craig? How's the rest of your week been so far?
It has been very good. It is great to see you again, Howard. Happy holidays to everybody who's watching out there. We got Hanukkah in the rearview mirror. Got college football on tonight. Florida, Alabama. Of course, my Gators trying to sneak into that championship. So, going to keep an eye on that tonight and get ready here to do some picks with you. In a very big week in the Super Contest. I think this is our last week to really take the bull by the you know what, because starting next week the lines are going to get all freaky and teams are going to be sitting players and all that stuff, and everyone's going to be able to get a little bit of a leg up. We may have to go contrarian in some. So I feel like this is a big week for us. Got to go 4-1, 5-0, no less.
All right. Well, I think we can do it. I believe the word you were looking for was horns. Grab bull by the horns. I don't know where you're grabbing bulls from, but I'm going to steer clear from that. But thank you so much for identifying a bull's anatomy in the wrong way.
You got to grab the you-know-what by the you-know-what, Howard.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Grab
We're
them both if you
taking
need
the
to.
you-know-what plus the points.
It's all about the points.
All about the you-know-what.
All right, well, let's make our picks here. Let's not waste any time. We've got some good value on some picks. We don't have some not so good value on some picks. So let's just start it right off here. First game that we're going to take, it's right there at the top of the Sunday card on the Westgate, and that is we're taking the Texans going up against the Colts. I know. Well, the Colts aren't going to have DeForest Buckner, it looks like. And that actually really does a lot to the defense. It does a lot for Deshaun Watson. It actually helps the ground game a little bit more, keeps the pass rush limited basically to one side. You only have to really worry about where Darius Leonard is coming from, and Deshaun Watson can get away. So obviously we're taking the Texans, and we're taking the 7 points that they're going to give us here. How you feeling about this one? This is one that, I thought you were going to have to talk me into, and then as the week unfolded, it just kind of fell into my lap here.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about this especially from the midway point of the season until the end. We just are prisoners of the moment too much in pro football, and we go by the week before way too often, and it's never an indication of the next week. And we sat here last Saturday night saying the Chargers were going to beat the Falcons after losing 45-0 to the Patriots, and they did. And so that's kind of the story here, is that you're getting so much value here with Houston, getting 7 points in an NFL game only because of what happened last week in Chicago. If they play that game close, Indy's 4.5, 5 at the most. We're getting a full touchdown here. And I know that the line has even peaked at 7.5 a little bit in some spots, but then I saw it went back down to 7. So Watson is, as long as Watson is in the game and healthy. Obviously, I got to use that caveat here. I mean, that's a very big factor here. But looks like Cooks is going to play, and so that's a definite bonus for them having him. Am I right about that?
You are correct.
Okay, so yeah, so that's a good thing. And look, Houston, while they're definitely not a good team, they've only been clobbered once, right? That's last week was the only week they got clobbered. So I think they stay in this game. Colts, to me, could lose any week, and even with their very good defense, they still have given up some points in games this year. So we have to pick 5 games. That's the bottom line here. So we'll take Houston plus 7.
All right. Second game that we're taking on the slate here. This is the big one. This is it. This is all for all the marbles, Craig. This is grabbing the bull by the you-know-what. We're taking the Rams. We're dropping 17.5 points here. Crazy, right? I mean, that's a 4-score game or 3-score game right there that we're giving up. But I mean, listen, I don't care what you say about the New York Jets. They are terrible. I could go off and tell you, what all the quarterbacks have done to the Jets over the last 6 games. It's been ugly, absolutely ugly. So if you tell me that even Jared Goff with Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp can't just throttle these Jets, well, then I might just pack it in and take my bull and go home. But it's the Rams for me.
Yeah, and I don't love to go back and look at games like from 4 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago because I don't really think they're much of an indication as to what could happen now. But I do have to say that it is pretty alarming what's happened to the Raiders, right? Like it's pretty staggering that they have fallen so poorly. And the Jets' only game they've been in the last 2 months was the Raiders. So it does kind of make sense at this point. The Raiders just playing horrible football, and that enabled the Jets to stay in the game. They haven't been in any other games. So this is the biggest line that we're going to lay in our history doing this together. We've never laid this amount of points, but I see the Jets worse than Miami when Miami was playing last year, and Miami was getting 20 points, 21 points in a lot of these games. So I don't see what's different here. If the game was in New York, I definitely would not lay 3 touchdowns. Whenever they're home again, if they're 21-point underdogs, I'm not going to do it. But it does seem like, and the Rams have a really good defense too. I don't think the Jets are going to score. They clearly have missed their opportunity to win. So Rams are still fighting for a lot right now. So,
Yeah, definitely.
And they really, I mean, do they have a chance for the number 1 seed in the NFC? They do, right?
It's a very limited chance for the number 1 seed. I think that's really kind of going back and forth. You got the Saints, you got the Packers, and you've got the Bucks actually in
Right.
there.
What? I mean, it'll be close. I mean, it's not
Sure.
dead yet. So I still think they're fighting for a lot. They're fighting for the division for sure. I know against Seattle. So I don't think they let up. We'll take them.
I like it. I like it. All right, next game that we're taking, Patriots. They're getting 2, going up against the Dolphins here. The line right now, as I'm seeing it, is that the Patriots are getting 1.5. So we are getting a half-point value here. It's helping us out. For me, this is all about Belichick going up against rookie quarterbacks. There's a hodgepodge in the backfield from Miami. You just don't know what they're going to do over there. If you've got a rookie quarterback, he really needs a supportive ground game. We saw what happened with a good ground game and Belichick against Justin Herbert, and that was like a nightmare. Like if you were on the Herbert side there, if you were like looking at the Chargers in that one, you were like, wow, this was abusive. So I mean, I just, I look at this and it really has nothing to do with how good Miami's defense is or what's going on with the Patriots and Cam Newton, who, probably won't throw the ball very much. So that's actually going to limit some turnovers, I think, at least from the side of the Patriots offense. I think they can win this game outright, maybe by a point, maybe by 2. We're getting the points here. I'll be happy with that.
Miami's very banged up too. We don't know who's going to play for them even tomorrow. Not entirely sure of that one. The line's really gone back and forth all week. There was a lot of support for New England at different points. I don't ever remember. I don't remember the last time the Dolphins were favored over the Patriots. It's interesting, right? What has it been, like 10 years maybe since they've been favored?
10 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And again, you're getting a little value here. Think about New England. New England wins 45-0 against the Chargers. They come back. They absolutely lay an egg last week. What if they don't? What if they don't look that bad? This line's even. And while Miami's such an odd team because statistically speaking, for their record, they're the worst team in the NFL for their record and their stats. It's like. I think it's like what Green Bay was last year, where the other team had much better stats the whole entire season, but Green Bay had the great record. That's what Miami is. And that's partially because they're doing it all on defense. You can't discount that. They've also been very good on special teams, but we know New England's very good on special teams too. So we'll take the Patriots here, maybe a 1-point game. One thing we probably know is that fourth quarter, 2 minutes to go, it'll be tied. You'll text me, and we'll see. That's probably what's going to happen.
All right, next game there, we're taking the Seahawks. Road favorite here. 5 points over the Washington football team. Now, the line right now is actually it's Seahawks -6.5. So we're getting a 1.5 value here. This all comes down to Dwayne Haskins, man. If it were Alex, we said this on Tuesday's show or Wednesday's show here on Wager Alarm. We said it again on Sports Grid on Friday. If it's Haskins under center, we're taking the Seahawks. If it's Alex Smith, we're taking the Washington football team with the points. And there you go. We're taking those Seahawks.
Washington has played so well with Alex Smith. Like he has just completely stabilized everything that they have done They probably won't have Gibson. They're not going to have Smith. Haskins has never played good in an NFL game. Like that's a staggering thing to say. He has not played well in any game. In the game they came in last week, he almost threw an interception and lost. They were already up for like 2 touchdowns in that one. So I give Washington a ton of credit for getting to this point. I still think they have a chance to get to the playoffs. I think that final Sunday night of the NFL season on NBC is going to be either Washington or New York playing for their playoff lives. I just have a feeling it's going to come down to that one last game, one last win. This is not a game I see Washington winning. Seattle is too tough. They had their wake-up call a couple of weeks ago against the Giants, and then they slaughtered the Jets. I don't think this game is going to be close. I think that Washington will do everything they possibly can to get Alex Smith back on the field next week because, unfortunately, Haskins' college success has not translated at all, Howard, in the NFL. He's not looked good at all, ever.
Well, he hasn't looked good, not to mention the fact that we've heard so many stories already about the fact that even his teammates are complaining that he wasn't putting in the work. He wasn't watching film. He wasn't showing up, on time for meetings. He really fell out of favor. Ron Rivera sent him home. Yeah. Ron Rivera was like, go, see you later. And, as it turned out, then once they needed a backup quarterback, then all of a sudden he came into the picture. So even Rivera, his own coach, doesn't like him, doesn't respect him, doesn't want him there. I can't imagine the rest of the team is going to follow suit with him. So Seahawks laying 5 here again. 6.5 is the line right now, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. That's the 4th game that we're taking already? Wow, look at that.
Well, that's a good sign for us.
We're moving over to Sunday Night Football. Wah, wah. We're taking the Giants. We're taking the home dog. It's Colt McCoy. Freddie Kitchens is calling plays for the Browns. Listen, I can't even, calling plays for the Giants. I can't sit here and talk the Giants up for this, other than the fact that they have been so good about covering the spread. Their defense is improving, and they've been so good about covering the spread. And I think that, the line right now is Browns by 6.5. So we're losing some value on this pick, but again, the Browns defense, even all those points given up by, to the Ravens. And you can say all you want about the Ravens, and they're a much better team than the Giants. They are. You still gave up 42 points in that game. That's a lot. So we'll go with the trend here of the Giants being a good, solid home dog. And they do cover quite a bit on that. So there it is.
They're 8-5 against the spread. They should be 9-4. There was one game that was very close with them. With the Browns seem to play to whoever they're with. I expect this to be a very close, low-scoring game. That's the way that I see this. I know it doesn't matter, but it is interesting. I saw a stat where the Browns haven't beaten the Giants since 2008. That's a long time. I didn't realize it was that long. There's totally different people. The Browns probably have gone through 15 quarterbacks since then. But it was just interesting to see that, 2008, this is the NFL. You play teams a couple times, and I guess they haven't played that often or whatever, but it's been a long time. Look, I know the Browns are up to 6.5, I think mostly because it's certain now that Colt McCoy is going to play. But the Giants are going to play very conservative. We've seen the Browns play very conservative in games this year. I know they've scored some 40s and 30s. I've seen it too. But in those weather games, they scored 13 points against Houston, and they tend to just run until they don't have to anymore. Yeah. And the Giants are not going to be a threat to pull away ever in this game. So I think it will be very close. And the Giants have been one of the best betting teams in the NFL this season. Why should that change? They're in every game. So we'll take the points Sunday night, and we'll take the home dog, the Giants.
All right. So those are the games that we're picking. Again, it's the Texans +7. It's the Rams -17.5. Patriots +2. Seahawks -5. Giants +4.5. Now, we did have some leans earlier on in the week here. Figure we might as well just kind of touch on them. We were leaning Titans, but we found out that Matthew Stafford is actually going to play for the Lions. Now, in the Westgate, it's Lions +11. That line right now is already at 9. Yeah. So, I'm fine with bypassing that one there. And I think the other one we kind of tinkered around with was whether or not we take the Saints plus the 3 points at home against Kansas City because Drew Brees is back. You still feeling the Saints?
Actually, the one pick that when we emailed today that I was surprised that you weren't in on, and I know that you have a good feel for the Eagles, was the Eagles. I really thought that was the team that you were super high on this week, so I was surprised to not see that there. But it was okay with me. I'm fine not going with that pick. I do like the Saints a little bit with Breeze. I do like San Francisco a little bit. At Dallas, those would be the other two. But, certainly I like the picks that we have. I just think that the 49ers, it's the line that's telling the story for me, because it just seems like what business does San Francisco have being favored on the road with the way that they've played, and only one game better than Dallas, and they're now 3.5 on the road. So I think San Francisco's got a shot to win that game. And then, as the week went on, I kind of felt like, I'm not sure about the Eagles. They still don't have any offensive talent. And look, how have the rookie quarterbacks done in their second game? It really hasn't been going well for some of these guys in the second game, because after you see the first game and got the video, maybe that happens with the Cardinals too. So those were the only two other possibles for me.
Yeah, as I, dove in doing all the DFS research that I do for Fantasy Alarm, I kind of was diving into the Cardinals and the Eagles game a little bit more. Seeing, Kyler Murray with, back up with 13 rushes last week in the game. Darius Slay out for the Eagles. Who's going to cover? There's nobody that can cover DeAndre Hopkins on that Eagles team. And then the bottom line is when you look at a guy like Jalen Hurts, he had a great first game. He definitely did. But if he's going to throw for less than 200 yards in a game, then he needs to rush for, at least 80 yards. And I just don't know if we can bank on that again, because now we've got a team that sees, him already now in the NFL. So they've got some film on him there. And, you can kind of scheme against that and, look at the tendencies that you saw in that game. And so for that reason, that was kind of why I pivoted off of that one.
Yeah, and I understand that. And again, there's a lot of big lines this week, which is predominantly the reason why we're taking the Rams. And then, and I think that's another good lesson for us this week, and for most people too. It's that, if the Rams were minus 17.5, and that was the biggest number by far on the board, then we probably wouldn't have taken them. But a lot of the other options as favorites were 9s and 10s and 11s and 12s and things of that nature. So I think it made it a little bit more plausible, probably, and I think that's probably why we ended up taking the Rams this week. But I feel good about it. I think that we've got a 4-1 or 5-0 there, and we really need it this week. So hopefully we'll get it. But look, it's a good lesson for everyone who's followed us all year long. 1 week under 500 in the last 4 or 5 weeks can really just derail your chances of winning this thing, and we're still trying to cash. I mean, that's a big part of it. But all we really need to do is 4-1. I mean, it says a lot, but if we go 4-1 or 5-0, puts us right in a position for the final 2 weeks to really pick whatever we want. If we go anything less than 4-1 or 5-0, then I think we probably have to go a little contrarian in the last 2 weeks.
All right. Well, you know what? Listen, that's what we've got the picks. We'll put them in. We'll see where it all lands, and we'll worry about the bull and his horns and whatever else he's got going on for him.
You're still on the bull.
I'm still on the bull. I mean, I just can't let go. You told me to grab him, and I did. All in. But you know what? That's going to actually do it for us here tonight. I mean, listen, sometimes it's just straightforward there, right? You don't need any more bull references from neither me nor Craig. So we're going to just thank you guys all for tuning in and for watching. Again, these picks will be up on wageralarm.com as soon as that ticket comes in. So you'll be able to find it, track everything. I've got the standings link over there as well, so you can check out where Craig and I fall with the rest of the field. Big thanks to our producer tonight, John Impemba. Big thank you to all of you guys out there for watching. For Craig Mish, I'm Howard Bender. This has been the Wager Alarm live stream, and we'll